What's up, HAD gang? It's your boy HAD the Hustler, and I'm back with another one. We gotta talk about this one right here, dog. We gotta talk about this one. Yo, Danny versus Earl Spence. I'm telling you. Spence too much for the welterweight division, y'all. I got bad news for all the up and coming welterweights. I ain't even gonna say up and coming welterweights because I feel like he got about 2 or 3 more fights in the welterweight division and it's clear and safe. But I don't think nobody in the welterweight division has anything for Earl Spence Jr. And that's my God honest opinion, man. I don't think that jab is something crazy. And then he was weaker. What? He didn't feel 100%. That wasn't even 100% jab. What? I'm like, good Lord. It went exactly how I predicted. Earl Spence Jr. is simply just too much for Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia is a warrior. Danny Garcia is good and everything, you know what I'm saying? But it's a difference between being good and being great. Like my man Saha the Prince say, don't be good, be great. We saw a perfect display of that happen in Saturday night versus Danny Garcia. Let me get to it though without rambling too much. You know what I'm saying? It went exactly like everybody said, man. Danny Garcia couldn't do anything with the jab. Earl Spence Jr.'s feet work was too good. He controlled distance well. He even was winning at mid-range. There was nothing Danny Garcia could possibly do. I said it 5 times already, and I cannot stress it enough. The man tried everything. His corner, Danny Garcia's corner was so flustered. I think like after the 5th round, there was no advice. There was begging. He was begging like my man got dang on Tim talking about. He was begging. That motherfucker Angel Garcia was over there begging for his boy to throw hands. But you know what? Mike Tyson, I'm about to call that nigga Michael Tyson. Mike Tyson said it perfectly fine. Everybody got a plan till they get punched in the face. These boys were talking about how they was gonna move and how they was gonna they increased their footwork. Danny Garcia did have a little bit better footwork, like he more than what he usually do. But when you dealing with a person with Olympic experience, those basics was instilled in Earl Spence Jr. since he was a bull pup. Since he was in the gym, since he back in the day, since he was in the Mexican gyms, battling it out with them young boys. You know what I mean? He been on that. Like, you gotta come super correct. You cannot. Danny Garcia tried to change his stripes at the last minute, but it was way too much for him. Let's give a hand to my boy Derek James, the absolute legendary trainer. This man is a genius. I'm about sure that man play chess, man. I'm about sure that man sit in the crib. If I ever get the opportunity to ask him, I'm gonna ask him. He probably sits in the crib and plays chess with himself. That's how much like of a strategist he is. He breaks down these fighters to the point where when they get in the ring, Danny Garcia is a top welterweight. And the combination of Earl Spence Jr. work ethic, his skill, his technique, and Derek James' strategic genius broke this man and his team down. He didn't destroy him physically like he said he would, which I mean he's a top guy. You don't knock top guys out. Only the absolute greatest knockout artists knock out the top guys. But he definitely went in there and destroyed him mentally. Danny Garcia and Angel Garcia was broken around, I want to say, they was broke up. Oh, man, about the 6th round, I was like, man, this fight is way out of hand. This fight is way out of hand. Like, these mugs gave Danny 3 rounds. I mean, whew, y'all was being generous. Even the rounds where Earl Spence Jr. slacked off and it was pretty obvious. I think people gave those rounds to Danny Garcia based off the fact that they visibly saw Errol Spence Jr. slacking off. It wasn't what Danny was doing. Danny threw a couple, threw a couple combinations and some of them rounds, but I think those was like rounds that was given just because you can visibly see Errol Spence step off the gas. All right. I mean, that was a good fight though. You know what I mean? Shout outs to Danny Garcia and the Garcia family. They should be Danny Garcia is the best welterweight that's not a top welterweight. If that makes sense. He's the best number. All right, if there were 5 top heavyweights, let me see. It's only 2, but if you say Errol Spence Jr. is number 1, Terrence Crawford, I'm gonna say Terrence Crawford for the sake of argument, but he ain't fought nobody, man. I don't respect the fact that people is throwing this guy up at the top because of what he did at 140, but he did like absolutely kill the guys at 147 that he fought. But I mean, okay, let's put him at top. Let's put him at number 2 for argument's sake. You know what I mean? And in my opinion, Keith Thurman is still number 3. Keith Thurman is still number 3, y'all. He lost to Manny Pacquiao. You know what I mean? And Manny Pacquiao, bro, he could have beat Manny Pacquiao, but I think those first couple rounds, Keith Thurman was freaking starstruck. He was in the ring. He was taking it all in. Then Manny caught him, boom, put him down. He got a couple rounds after that to solidify the win, but that's for another conversation. So let me see. I got Keith Thurman at number 3. I still got Sean Porter at number 4, and I want to squeeze Ugas up there. I want to see Danny Garcia and Ugas fight, so I'm gonna say 4A and 4B. I mean 5A and 5B. You know what I mean, between Danny Garcia and Ugas. Danny Garcia, the thing about that is anybody that's not gonna press him per se intelligently is gonna get knocked out by the guy. You know what I mean? Anybody that don't got the elite tools in the ring is gonna get beat up by Danny Garcia. So all the people that's out here saying Danny's done, Danny might be done for now, but when the super elites move up, I don't think Terrence Crawford is going to go to 154. But as soon as the super elites move up, Danny is still going to be a top guy if Errol Spence didn't totally defeat him mentally. You know what I mean? That's an issue. That may or may not be an issue. I don't know the guy, but I saw visibly in the post-fight interview that Danny was crushed. Angel was crushed. They argued. I can almost know for a fact the ride home after that fight was an argument. And people out here saying Danny Garcia should train trainers. Danny Garcia need to get his dad out of it. No, it worked. It's been working for years. He's lost 3 times to the absolute creme de la creme of the welterweight division. He don't need to change nothing. I feel like he need to change. I'll take that back. I don't know if it sounded like Terrence Crawford just instantly doubling back on what I'm saying. If he were to change anything, I feel like he needs to, if you're not going to throw more punches as far as like power punches per se, if you're gonna be a counter puncher, you need a more educated jab. Like I feel like if Danny Garcia, who's over 30 years old, ain't no changing that man's stripes. But if he were to go back to the basics and rewind and dial it back and sit down and really think about it, all he needs is an active jab, man. He got short arms, but if he had an active jab, then his counterpunch, he'd be able to land that counterpunch against the elite fighters. Because Errol Spence Jr., I don't really got nothing to say about, nothing negative to say about that. But let's get on past the fight. You know what I mean? And then you got your boy Terrence Bud Crawford went there to get that. they put Terrence Bud Crawford in the arena. You know what I mean? Just to get the camera put on him. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that was a chess move by PBC. You know what I'm saying? It might have been a chess move by PBC, considering that before they wasn't even acknowledging the fact that he was a top welterweight. But when he there, you know what I mean, at the fight, they done showed him like 5 times. You know what I'm saying? They had him on the Jumbotron. He was in Jerry's world, looking the glam and glitz and stuff. He seen all the stars and the rappers and all the people he look to, like social, all the people that people look to for socially was at this fight. You know what I'm saying? They put him on the top welterweight list, unlike they did a couple years back. But that's another story. That was a chess move, man. That definitely was a chess move by whomever set that up. You know, Earl Spence Jr. though. I mean, Dr. Petty. I mean, I understand where he coming from though. But he still got to fight. He talking about something. He ain't really worried about that fight. He shouldn't be worried about that fight. But if he gonna keep his word, which I mean he has so far, with trying to go undisputed, I believe that Terrence Bud Crawford should be possibly his next fight. Manny Pacquiao may fight Earl Spence next because Earl Spence he verbally said that he was rusty, which I think that was bait. I mean, if that was a rusty Earl Spence Jr., then I mean, what's 100% Earl Spence Jr.? Like what would be the ideal Earl Spence? You know what I'm saying? Because you can go back and say the Earl Spence against whomever lesser opponent that you're talking about. You know what I mean? Back in the day where he had the shag, he did look good, you know what I mean? But I mean, he was fighting the C and B's, you know what I'm saying? Like, this might be the best Earl Spence though. I mean, what more could the man do? He has it all, you know what I'm saying? What more can he do except for get the knockouts, and that's based off his opponent's chin. Some people don't fight. Like his last 2 fighters that he didn't knock out, literally, he shut them down with the jab. They could not do nothing. These Garcia cats just was getting whooped. Like they just couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. And I tip my hat to Earl Spence Jr., his family, all the people that helped him get to where he is today, because what happened to that man could have easily broke him. You know, I've seen lesser things break so-called greater men. You know what I'm saying? He came back. He did his thing. He's ready for. This was a tune-up, ladies and gentlemen. This was a tune-up. Wasn't your Evis Kalvinaskis, whatever your man name is. This was a tune-up. This brother, they was like, yo, Errol Spence Jr., you've been off for a year. You need a tune-up. And I wish he would have said this before the other night, but this was a tune-up to him. This was definitely a tune-up. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, and then you got after the fight though, Bud Crawford, you know, about low-key acting like he wasn't impressed. You know, I mean, you gotta say that though. You can't be a op and be like, oh yeah, I was impressed. I'm there starstruck like y'all not finna fight. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how he truly feel about it, but Bud Crawford, that whole going to Earl Spence fight may not even been for the boost the fight up. It might have been a chess move from PBC and friends trying to get him over here, trying to get him the best treatment. You know what I mean? You know how you take a chick out, you know what I'm saying? You buy her, you allow her to get the nice stuff and the bottom of the menu, the dub, the steak and shrimp and lobster on the menu. You know what I mean? They gave the man steak and shrimp and lobster. It was like, yeah, man, you want to win? Come over here on some Suge Knight. If you don't want to see your manager dancing all in the video, you know how goddamn gonna Bob Aaron be all in the video, calling a nigga not he ain't promotable and all that. Like he need to promote himself. Yeah, Al probably was like, yeah, baby, come on over here, baby. Yeah, come on over here. We got you. Our guys don't gotta promote themselves. Check this out, Bloop. Promoted them. Boom, right on the biggest TV in North America. Bud got that free promotion. You know what I'm saying? They showed the camera on him like 10 times, bro. You know good as well that man was up there feeling good. Everybody feel good when people appreciate him, man. And then Bud might, if Bud go over there, he might, I mean, I don't know how many people going, he probably already burnt a lot of fan bridges, you know what I mean? He ain't burned mine because I feel him, you know what I'm saying? Some of these dudes out here are savages. Some of these dudes be just going at his neck, don't even really know behind the scenes stuff about the contracts and all of that, you know? But I mean, that's neither here nor there, but Bud, good to go, man. He gonna make his bread, but he need to get in the ring with these top guys, man. If he cannot get the Errol Spence fight next, I feel like he should call out Keith Thurman. If he don't get Manny Pacquiao or Errol Spence Jr., he should line up Keith Thurman because, first of all, Keith Thurman is one of my favorite boxers, and so is Terrence Crawford. You know what I mean? I just love the welterweight division. Every single one of the top guys. I don't got no dog in the race. I just love these fights. But yeah, he need to fight Keith Thurman, man. Thurman need to do what he got to do to get this fight. You know what I'm saying? Because Keith Thurman, although he did the ducking of Errol Spence, he saw Errol Spence a long time ago, and he didn't want to fight him. He must have saw that man in the gym sparring like, woo, nah, no thanks. That old guy, that old gotta go. No, not against Errol Spence. He lost that to a legend, which was another chess move. I mean, shout out to Keith Thurman because nobody could be like, bro, you lost. I'm like, nigga, I lost to Manny Pacquiao. You know what I'm saying? Who you lose to? You know what I'm saying? Like, that was a pretty good move, but he need to do what he got to do to boost his rep up so he can get back in this fight. You know what I mean? I feel like Keith Thurman probably need to fight a couple times a year so he can get in. I mean, he need to fight like in the beginning of 2021. He probably need to fight, and then he need to start calling Bud Crawford out because I don't think Bud Crawford gonna get this Errol Spence fight. I think Manny Pacquiao gonna take it right up under him. You know what I mean? Bob. I mean, I don't know who to blame, bro. Bob says it's his fault. He says Bob. I mean, he ain't never say it's Bob's fault. The fans say it's Bob's fault. Bob up here talking crazy. That's neither here nor there. But all in a nutshell, man, it was a good fight. I didn't watch all the undercards. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really interested in those kind of undercards. You know what I'm saying? But shoot, man, I really enjoyed myself. Shout out to the PBC and Fox for putting on a good card. Shout out to Errol Spence Jr. for putting on a masterclass performance. Shout out to Danny Swift Garcia and his family for being a warrior, supplying me with so much footage to look at, so much content to review on him. He's a family man. I love that about him. I love the fact that he ain't got no quit in him like some of these other so-called top guys. They be having some quit in him. And shout outs to Bud Crawford though for because we low-key been asking him to go to Spence fights for a while. It's kind of might be too late because he stuck his foot in his mouth last week talking about he don't need Errol Spence and all that big body talk, you know. But I mean, if Errol Spence ain't too upset about the situation, I hope to God that he get on the phone with this man, offer this man 60. Take the 60-40, Terrence. Please take the 60-40. You're gonna make more bread. See, that's nothing. All right. But that's all I got for today, man. Like, comment, subscribe. HAD, Hustler House, Hustler's Home. See y'all motherfuckers later.